Let's go, food lovers. Let's check our greenhouse. Let's do it again.
Are you a little bit camera shy?
I'm a little bit camera shy.
This is take 101, you guys.
1001. Okay guys, this is the greenhouse. We're gonna take you for a ride here today. I love to be here. This is one of my favorite parts to be in the farm. We have a lot of trees here, a lot of life, and it's nice and warm. And in the winters it's very nice. So let's go for a ride.
You gonna show us what you got?
I'm gonna show you what I got.
You're gonna show us what you got.
So we got here a few trays with cork oak. We got a few kiwis. We got a few bay leaves. We got a few strawberry trees. Madronhos, it's called in Portuguese. Yeah, madronhos. More madronhos. We got here an extended selection of aromatics that Sophie went to pick to my grandmother. My grandmother is a lover of plants, so she has thousands of plants. So we went there and get it for free. So there's a lot of money here that we didn't have to pay for. We got some physalis that are in the winter time now, so they look dead, but they're not. We got some figs to come up, and we got a lot of different roses. The village where we live is known by its roses on the street, so we're gonna propagate those too.
All colors of the rainbow, except
on this side we have more figs. After all, we are in Portugal. Figs love heat, and here it's hot as hell. After that we have the pines. We have two kinds of pines here. We have the pines for the pine nuts, they're delicious, and we have the pines for wood. Both of them are pines, but as you can see, they're very different as a plant. We have some plums, we have some exotic trees, some mango trees. They're having a hard time with this cold, but we're gonna try to keep them alive. We have another tropical, Annona. They're also having a hard time. We'll see how it's going up. It's a typical apple from this area. It's called Bravo Schmolf. It's a delicious small little apple. It's amazing. We'll show you later the season. Or you buy them, or you do them yourself.
action.
So I think I had enough of this for today.
Filipe is quite camera shy, so I feel like the intro of this video has been a hard labor.
It's been a battle. It's been a battle. I love plants. They're so much easier.
I love the camera, so let's get to it. Let's quickly talk about different ways of getting plants onto your farm. So obviously there's your conventional way, the easiest of all, and I'm not opposed to it at all. It's just buying it at a good grower. But then there are other ways of getting plants onto your farm which are actually more cost effective and more fun, if you will, because you get more hands-on experience, and what you grow is really made with love, so that's extra satisfying. Today we're going to talk about 3 different ways of propagating. The first one I'm going to talk about is actually propagating from cuttings. This is a fig tree, this is a branch from a tree, you pot it, more on that later. The second one is going to be air layering, which is a technique for which you need a lot of butter. No, I'm joking. Obviously you don't need butter, but any kind of recycled cubes. Shout out to Avo. Watch that other episode on quince marmalade. We have more of these boxes. This method actually means that you are growing roots off a branch which stays on a tree. We'll demonstrate that in a minute. Then the third and probably the most simple way is seeding, for which we use these recycled water containers, since we have plenty of those to go around. And what better way to use them than to grow some trees or other plants. Seeding is done by using the seed of any plant. What we do is called mob seeding. It is a technique you use when you plant a shite ton of seeds in the same box or in a small surface. See what comes up, and from that what comes up you then transplant into your pots and then further on onto your land. And then at some point you will have to test, is the fruit nice? Because that is one of the downsides to seeding from seed. Basically you are not 100% sure that you are getting the same result as the mother from which it came. So let me give you a quick example. You have a beautiful apple tree, loads of apples, and you think, I'm going to get myself a ton of apple trees. You seed a lot of apple trees, put them in the ground. 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on the type of apple. Years later, you get your first apple and it's nothing like its mother. Just as family, you know. Sometimes the kids don't turn out like their parents. So that is why cuttings, maybe, especially in professional growing, are preferred, because when you professionally grow, you really want to make sure that you're going to get the apples that you want, those nice, sweet, crispy, juicy poppies. And if you clone, which is what you're doing, you have 100% guaranteed the same fruit as the mother. Let me show you how. Let's demonstrate how to do a propagation from cuttings. First, you get a branch off a tree, which is about the thickness of a finger or a little bit younger, and it has to be a growth of that year. So that's important for this to work. You then cut off your piece. You cut it on a diagonal. I already did it. Let me do it again. That's actually here. You do this so that the surface here is optimal for root growth and for water absorption. You then make sure that there are multiple eyes on top of that cutting. This is where new branches will come out. You then fill a little pot full of soil. Make sure that it's nice and moist. This earth is already moist. And then with the cutting, pop it in, press it, water it once more. Oh, how cute is this? And then time to label. Red. Pop it in. Done. So this little cute jar here is an accidental mob seed by our children. When November last year ate an orange, put the pips in a pot. You know, when they're with us, they also love to farm a little. And here we go. This is the result, an unexpected surprise, a happy surprise. All right, let's demonstrate some air layering technique. This is one of the best tasting apple trees we have on the farm. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's not looking great. So we are trying to air layer a lot of the branches so that we can clone this tree and have this apple tree onto our farm for many years to come. He's going to start off by cutting off a piece of the bark and scraping it off completely so that none of the fiber is left. The second thing we do then is we spit on the plant. We put some human saliva on there. This actually helps to prevent any kind of bad bacteria from growing or fungi that is undesired. Then the next step is to place your plastic container filled with a very moist potting soil onto the plant, closing it off and then wrapping it tightly with some plastic in order to keep the moisture in. And you leave it for about 4 weeks to 3 months depending on the plant species and your weather conditions. Most of the time the plant will actually have grown roots there, and you can now cut it off at the bottom of the stick and plant it in a pot, and voila, you have yourself a brand new tree. Here we have an example of an air layered branch. So this part was the part where the bark got cut off, and as you can tell, this is very early days, but root formation is starting to form. In the future we'll show you some examples of plants that are further along, but this is just a nice little view on how nature is capable of survival and how we can turn it into our own benefit. We hope that you guys enjoyed this collaboration. It wasn't easy for Filipe, but he got through it in the end. I hope that you guys learned at least one thing from this episode, and that is that everyone can craft, plant, seed a tree. Well, crafting maybe not, that's not for everyone. But seeding and cloning.
Just keep planting, keep planting.
Just
Doesn't
keep
matter,
planting.
keep planting.
The world needs trees, guys, and you can make that happen. See you on the next one. The Farming Chefs, peace out.